go over the verses. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 30th chapter, texts 43 and 44. Tanmanaskas tadalapas tadvichetas tadatmikaha tadgunaneva gayantyo natmagarani sasmaruhu. Translation: their minds absorbed in thoughts of him, they conversed about him, acted out his pastimes, and felt themselves filled with his presence. They completely forgot about their homes as they loudly sang the glories of Krishna's transcendental qualities. Purport: actually, there is no separation from Krishna for the pure devotees of the Lord. Although apparently abandoned by Krishna, the gopis were actually tightly connected with him by the spiritual process of Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. Then text 44. Translation: the gopis again came to the bank of the Kalindi. Meditating on Krishna and eagerly hoping he would come, they sat down together to sing of him. Purport: as stated in the Katha Upanishad 1-2-23, Yamevaisha prinute tenalabhyaha. The supersoul can be realized by that person whom he chooses. Thus, the gopis fervently pray that Krishna come back to them. Thus, in the purports of the humble servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to the 10th canto, 30th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Gopis' Search for Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupakadam Mahyam Dudati Svapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So before I begin this class, I would like to request all the blessings of the assembled devotees that I may speak something which is in line with our Guru Parampara, that is beneficial and uplifting in our lives, and that our hearts become fertile ground for the sublime message to take root on. So the verses today are very beautiful, and they're just so apt right now for this month of Purushottam in which we are in. The first verse talks to us about the gopis and their absorption in the thoughts of Krishna, and how intense it is, how strong, and how much their minds are just completely engrossed with Krishna. And that is actually what we want in our meditations of Krishna. And not only at the moment when we're doing japa, when we're singing kirtan, but actually throughout our whole lives. And this is the type of meditation that is different from just like the regular just sitting down, breathing and concentrating on something. This is a type of meditation that is a continuous throughout all of our activities. Whatever we're doing, it's constantly there in our minds. So whether we're sitting down in a lotus position or whether we're working in the world, there is this constant meditation on Krishna. So how do we understand that? How is it possible for us to understand this? Well, the gopis here give a very graphical view of like the intensity of the process, and this Krishna brought it out from them by leaving them their side. And what they're experiencing there is loss. There's this intense feeling of loss that they have at that moment. And it's, if you have ever lost anything in your life, you will understand how much the mind just can't get away from it. You know, I remember I was once running to a class because I had an exam that day, and I was running and running and running, and suddenly I realized, oh, my backpack, it's open, and I had my wallet there with everything, all my credit cards, my ID, like everything, and I started looking back, and it was like I couldn't find it. I was like, but I have a class right now, you know, I have an exam starting soon, so I had to just like, okay, look, I can't go to the exam. While I was in the exam, you know, which was an important exam, my mind was constantly thinking about what? About my loss. You know, like, I wonder where my wallet is, you know, I looked for it, you know, and maybe I can retrace my steps further back, you know, because I think that this is where I like that. So anyway, like I was in the moment doing an exam, but where were my thoughts? My thoughts were in, you know, at that moment with the wallet. It was consuming me at that moment. So after the exam, guess what I did? I started, you know, looking all over there, you know, like, you know, through bushes, through like everywhere through, where I had gone. I could not find it. And for the next couple of days, everything that was on my mind was, guess what? You know, just like the wallet and everything. I never did find it, but this was a good reminder to me of what it was. You know, this sense of being absorbed in a thought, even when you're doing everything else in your life. And this sense of loss is something that the gopis are experiencing there. Actually, the sense of loss, you know, this is like a very, you know, simple example that I gave, but actually it can go like much deeper when we have something like the loss of a job. Anybody that has lost their job, you know, understands, you know, how much more consuming that is, because now it's destabilizing. Exactly, Yamunajai. The loss of a loved one is even stronger than that. Well, I will, yeah, it is. Let me. I found this on the web, and it's called. You know, it's talking about the 7 stages of grief. So, they say that they're still scientists are still looking into this thing, because grief is not something that is so much understood. I mean, it's a human experience to have loss and therefore grieving in our lives, but you don't report it. It's not something that is reported or anything like that. But the statistics say that there is 2.5 million people in the US alone that die every year, and with them leaving around you know, an average of 5 people grieving. So do the math: 2.5 times 5, and that's how many people are grieving in the United States alone every year. And they go through stages. Here, as the scientists talk about the stages of grieving, they also say that, you know, it's you can go through any of these, all of these, some of these, but and you can go through cycles of more than this. But I'll tell you which are these 7 stages of grief that they talk about. The first one is shock, and it's like you don't even know what just happened to you. It's just like and people often, when they're in shock, they appear to be behaving normally without emotion, because the news hasn't fully sunk in yet on them. And they say that this is often a sense of numbness and a self-protective detachment from your feelings, because they are too intense to deal with. Then there is denial, right? I don't believe it. This can't be true. But it can also appear as in, how can this person not be there? How they've been there all the time and now they're not. Why is that? So this also can include forgetfulness, lack of concentration, sleeplessness, lack of motivation. This is part of the denial. Then there's a very intense emotion, which is anger. That is the third stage. And it's perfectly normal to feel anger, sometimes at loss. But it's anger it's a difficult emotion because sometimes it's minimized by others. And it happens at random times. It's important to find someone that we can connect to and be honest in that way, because we also try to not show that anger, and then we just feel frustrated. Sometimes we are angry at ourselves that we're taking too long to get over the grief. But there is, it's like I should have been done by now. It's been a month, it's been 2 months, and I still haven't gotten over it. I should have moved on, and being angry at ourselves with that. Then the fourth stage is bargaining. They say this bargaining, but I don't like this word, because it's more about when we're seeking a reason. They say that it's like bargaining with the universe or with the higher power about a chance to put things right. There's a sense of that maybe I could have done things differently, if only I had stopped them from leaving the house, or if I knew more about this person's medical condition, maybe I could have done something more. There's a lot of what ifs. So I like to call this stage more like the what if stage. Then there is the fifth one, which is depression, which is a jumble of emotions, that go from anxiety, isolation, and feeling of dread. It's people are unsure of how to help us at that point. It is important to ask for help at this specific point. Then there is acceptance and hope that maybe I can get through this. So we may need to distract ourselves from grief and place it on one side, and can get on with our social situations. We believe that is possible. Acceptance about realizing that we can't change the circumstances, and that we can't, but that we can gain some control over how we respond. And the seventh one, the last one, is processing the grief. There's no right or wrong way to process the grief, because the process is highly individual, and there's no quick fix. There's no normal time frame. Some people take, like a few months. Some people take even years. And the problem with this is that it's grieving is a process of learning to adapt to loss. And scientifically in the brain, what happens is that the brain encodes the sense of I and the sense of you in the same way that it does of we. So when our sense of identity is tied with the relationship that we have. So when we say, a brother, when we say, a spouse, when we say a daughter, it means that there's a relationship, there's another person there. When that is gone, then yes, part of us is gone, and the brain interprets it that way, because there's a we, and then the grieving process is trying to understand, is the coping mechanism for adapt, not coping, it's the adaptation to that. And so they say that we grieve basically all our life. A lady who has started, her life, she's young and everything, and loses her mother on her wedding day. Even though her mother may have passed a long time ago, she will feel again some grief at that moment, and it's a new moment. It's a new experience of that loss. But hopefully by now she has learned to adapt to it, to deal with it. So when the gopis are feeling this loss of Krishna, it's this intense emotion. That's why they're going mad. Now, imagine, that it's not just, this loss of somebody, but it's the loss of Krishna, somebody that is like extremely dear, that is the closest to oneself. Why are we so important to ourselves? It's because we are part of Krishna. Krishna is that life of our life, and they fully realize this, and the intensity of their emotions are such that it's overwhelming, and they go mad and start acting out his pastimes. And Krishna knows this, that by leaving their side, he is going to let them come into a state in which they will not be able to focus on anything else but him. So he'll be able to be deeper into the hearts than if he was there present himself. Krishna is Rasaraj. Krishna is Rasaraj. So therefore, when he's there, he understands what it is that will make this relationship go to the highest. And what we see with this examples of them is that when they're performing all of these things, when they're singing about him, when they're talking about him, when they're remembering him, Vishnu's kirtan, smaranam, all of these 9 processes, when they're doing this thing, they're actually closest to him. When we have this grief for somebody, it's just pain. There's nothing else than pain. But when the gopis are experiencing this, they're experiencing actually Krishna. They feel the tightest with him, because he's actually reciprocating with them. Krishna is the Antaryami. He is there in the hearts of all the living entities. So he can reciprocate. And this is one thing that Arjuna Prabhu he likes to say, is that Krishna is responsive. Krishna, he does reciprocate with us perfectly. And therefore, when we're thinking about him, when we're going through it, Krishna is in his name. Because of the fact that Krishna is in his name, when we're chanting, we can actually experience Krishna right there with us. And this is what the gopis are doing. They're chanting about him. They're remembering him. They're acting out his pastimes. And with this, they are feeling Krishna with them. There is pain, but there's also the highest love. And that is what Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give us, this love and separation. Because it's the highest. It's not that Krishna is just being cruel. No, Krishna is actually reciprocating with them in the highest way. And he has plunged them into that state of, wanting to be with him, so that he can be with them in that separation. Right? There's a beautiful story in the Padma Purana about this feeling of this gaining, learning about what the gopis are really experiencing. And it's from none other than Arjuna, Pandava Arjuna. So we know that Arjuna is Krishna's friend. He's in the Sakya mood, right? My best friend. And it is said that he was once just like laying down with Krishna, and Arjuna took the hand of Krishna and said, "My dear Krishna, if you think that I am your friend, your very dear, confident friend, please tell me about your most confidential feelings with the gopis. Tell me something that you have never disclosed, even to personalities like Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva. Tell me about the gopis, who they are, what their names are, what they look like, and your dealings with them." And Krishna said, "My dear Arjuna, what you're asking is impossible. The only way that somebody can experience, can know about this is if they experience it themselves." And but Arjuna was insistent. He really wanted to understand the secrets of Braj. He said, "I want to understand the secrets of Braj." So Krishna, he realized. He said, "Okay, very good. So go to the goddess Tripura Sundari and ask her for help in this matter." So Arjuna, he went to this grove, beautiful grove with lots of flowers and singing birds, and there was a temple there of Tripura Sundari. And Tripura Sundari is it's a form of Yogamaya, of Purnamasi. When he entered this temple, it is said that Tripura Sundari was there, dressed in red, with 4 arms. Can't remember all. I believe one hand had a goad, another one had a noose, another one had a bow, and the other one had a sheath of arrows for Cupid. And when he went in there, he presented himself as Arjuna, the warrior. And she immediately turned into this little girl, beautiful girl, and she said that she knew why he was there, and she started him in what was called the Bala Vidya, the knowledge of the girls, Bala, and that's why she took that form. So she had him start with learning a mantra and doing some practices, and he did that for a couple of days, and then as he was doing that, she appeared again, and she said that and there was also some austerities that he had to do along with that. When he went through that process, she appeared, and then she said, "Very good. Now I will hand you over to my assistant." And this assistant, who in the Padma Purana said it was a goddess. Then she took Arjuna and through this forest. I believe that it was Mahaban. And as he was going through it, he was noticing that that there were some emotions in him towards Krishna that he had never felt before. She was taking him into the what was called the realm of the festival of Krishna's relationships, and as he was going there, he was starting to feel like different, like he had this emotion towards Krishna that he had never felt before, but he felt incomplete because he still had this body of a warrior. He's like buff. He his very strong, very manly like that. But it was not congruent anymore with his mind, with his feelings, which were now of a Brajavasi. He now had this mood of a Brajavasi, and this body was just like not in tune with it. So he asked this goddess, like, excuse me, should I be doing another some sort of penance like that and she understood what he meant. So she took him to this lake of that looked like 1,000-petal lotus, and asked him to dip into it in a specific way. And so he went in once, twice, and on the third time, as he came up, he was perplexed at what he saw in the reflection on the water, because he was up to his navel, and his body had changed to that of a beautiful young cowherd girl who had long curly black hair, dark eyes, complexion like the moon, was fully dressed with beautiful ornaments and bangles and anklets. He had very, very fine features, doe eyes, and and his memory was fading about his past life as a warrior, leaving away in that and he heard, well, now we should say she heard this voice from the sky saying, go to the lake in the south. There you will find some gopis that will bring about the fulfillment of all your desires. And so she said, she went ahead, got to that lake and didn't know what to do. Like she didn't know anymore like so she just sat down. And at that moment, she saw that there were a group of girls that were coming in, and they were chatting and all that. And they got a glimpse of her, and they started talking amongst themselves. And then they approached her, and the leader of them, she came up to her and said, "My dear, who is your father? Who is your mother? Which village are you from? And who is your lover?" It pains us to see that in this realm of delight, there is somebody who has no shelter. Very, very sweet. And then she said, "To tell you the truth, I don't remember anything. I don't know where I'm from. I don't know who my parents are. My name is Arjunya Gopi, and all I remember is being directed into a lake to take a bath, and a voice from the sky telling me to come here because I would meet some gopis that would help me fulfill all my desires. But if you think that I'm worthy, please tell me who you all are." And so this girl who was the leader, she said, "My name is Priyamuda, and these are my friends." And there were four groups of them. She said, "Over there, these group of girls, they were previously the Vedas personified. Over there, these girls were previously goddesses, demi-goddesses. Over there, these girls were previously sages, and the rest of us, we've always just been cowherd girls." So then after that, Priyamuda, she took Arjunya by the hand, and she gave her a mantra and some meditation techniques, and instructed her on and also gave her a grove to be in, and she said to live in, and she said by this process you will get the darshan of Radharani, and through her you will attain everything. So she started Arjunya. She started doing all of this, and Priyamuda would come every day, to instruct her, to help her, and all that. And it is said that one day, her process bore fruit, and Radharani, with her assistants, came to that grove. And it is said that Radharani was just splendid. She was the perfection of womanhood. And Radharani she said, you have been favored by my friends, whose words never go in vain. And so she gave her this special mantra and this special these special techniques by which she could attain Krishna. And she blessed her that her mind would be absorbed in Krishna. And she said that when she is ready, she would come back for her. She taught her how to meditate on the blackish form of Sri Krishna. Wonderful Sri Krishna. So then she left, and Arjunya Gopi, and she also assigned her a different grove on the lake to do all of this. As she went through all of this, yes, Damodar Priya, this is from the Padma Purana. As she went through all of this, she started developing like these intense feelings for Krishna. And Priya Muda came one day and said she taught her to do this mandala, which she said to create this mandala with certain powders and sandalwood paste and all of this, and offer it to Krishna. And as she was as Arjunya did this, she offered herself to Krishna, to a picture of Krishna. And it is said that Priya Muda told her that this would help her attain, very quickly her desired goal. And as she was doing this, Arjunya Gopi was doing all of this, suddenly like these waves of emotions started coming to her, and it was uncontrollable. She started just crying, Krishna, 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 with such intensity that far away in another grove, Krishna was sitting with Radharani and their assistants. And Krishna, with raised eyebrows and a smile, turned to Radha and said, bring her quickly. Krishna knows how we're feeling. When we're chanting his holy names, what is our intensity? Prabhupada says that we have to cry to Krishna like a baby for his mother. This is how Arjunya Gopi was crying for Krishna, and so with that intensity, Krishna really listened and said immediately, bring her here. And Radharani sent her confidants as messengers to bring her. When they got to Arjunya's place, it is said that she was crying so pitifully that the leaves of the trees were falling, and they held her hand and said, my dear girl, from today onwards, you will cry no more. And they brought her, and it is said that when she came in, she was just like perspiring all over. Her tears were all over her as well. And Radharani, with her veil, she cleaned her face and said, open your eyes now. And as she opened her eyes, she saw the beautiful form of Krishna, enveloped in this effulgence, and she immediately fainted. And they brought her back to consciousness, and Krishna took her, and on a stroll through the gardens, and said that it was the fulfillment of her desires. The Padma Purana gives a beautiful description of Krishna that I don't have time right now to go through, but it's a beautiful description of what she saw. And as they were going through that garden, it says that Krishna would sometimes he would be joking with her, sometimes putting his arm around her, and they were exchanging glances. And at some point, Arjunya was feeling that the grass and the shoes like that on the ground were hurting her feet. So Krishna picked her up and carried her over to a grove where there were many flowers, and he made beautiful crown for her. And in exchanging sweet words and sidelong glances, they brought their love to the highest. And then it said that Krishna then slowly brought her down, to the state, where they were previously. This lasted, they said, many hours, but it could have been a whole night of Brahma. And as Krishna, brought her back slowly to the grove where all the other girls were, all of these gopis had big smiles and subdued giggling. Then Krishna asked one of the gopis to please come in and help Arjunya. He said, please take her to a lake so that she can refresh, because she is very tired from our excursion. And so Priyamuda, she took Arjunya and helped her change clothes so that she could bathe, and brought her to this lake that looked like a 1,000-petaled lotus, and told her with a sweet but with sweet words, but in that were tinged with a bit of sadness. Go on, my dear, take your bath, refresh yourself. And so Arjunya went into the lake and she dipped, and 3 times. And as she came up, she noticed that Krishna was, across the lake on a cushion. And before she could say anything, she noticed the reflection on the lake, and it was no longer that of a beautiful cowherd girl. It was that of a powerful kshatriya, a powerful warrior once more. And realizing what had happened, he just slowly came out towards Krishna, with his arms down and dejected. His voice was choked up, and so he just fell down next to Krishna and buried his face on Krishna's lap, and was just crying inconsolably. And Krishna was stroking his head, and because of Arjuna's waves of emotion, it is said that Krishna's tears were also moistening his hands as he was consoling. Then after some moments, they just both sat up, and Krishna really he blessed Arjuna. He gave, because he had told Arjuna that the only way that he could that he could understand the love of the gopis was to experience it oneself. And so he said, now you know the secrets of Raj, but let's keep this confidential. They both then mounted the chariots and went to Hastinapur. And when they got to Hastinapur, all the other Pandavas, Yudhishthira and Bhima and Nakul and Sahadeva, they were there, and they noticed that there was a change in Arjuna. They couldn't tell what it was exactly, but in the way that the people that great in the way of great transcendentalists, they knew that some things are best left unsaid. The next couple of days, Arjuna just closed himself, isolated himself in his room, and he was just chanting the mantras that he had learned when he was Arjunya Gopi. And it is said that he was feeling a great feeling of loss from his Gopi identity. And it is said that his relationship with Krishna was never the same. There was something special there. And so now we're going to take darshan of Radha Muralidhar, of Krishna.
Thank you, Murali Gopal. Murali Gopal Prabhu is related to our deities. He has the same name.
Let's look at Krishna the same, try to do it the same way that Arjunya Gopi did.
Vishesha Sobha Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Anyani Asya Sakaven Vyavriti Mamti Pasyanti Pan Kayati Tiram Jaganti Anandati Maya Sadhu Kala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham.
Okay. Murali Gopal Prabhu, or shall we say Murali Gopi? How do we call you? Murali Gopi?
No, Prabhu. Just Murali Gopal Das.
Gopal Das. Thank you, Murali Gopal. Thank you very much. Wonderful class. Immersion type of class. Very nice. Thank you. Are you available maybe for a minute or two?
Yeah. I'm here for you.
Take a reflection. Would like to reflect. Adi smelling the cow dung of the walls of the Bhakti Center. Damodar Priya.
Hare Krishna, dear Murali Gopal. Thank you so much for that story. Like I said, I had never heard that pastime before. And it was magical and beautiful and loving, but also really, really sad. Like really sad. Like you really, I don't know about anybody else, but I really felt that sadness of like having something and then having it go away, and also the compassion of the Gopi who kind of knew that that was what's going to happen, and just like the compassion of like having Arjuna's memory of his life as a man and a kshatriya taken away, so he could really be in that space of the gopis' love, and just like everything about that story I just can't handle, and I'm just so overwhelmed with gratitude for you, because you shared it, and thank you so much to whoever originally kind of put that pastime down so that it could be shared. Absolutely gorgeous. Thank you so much.
It's I heard it from a class from Indradyumna Swami, and I had the same feelings that you just had when I heard it. I was like blown away by it. Incredible story. And one thing that Maharaj said was, that Arjuna, he never forgot that experience, but he, it's not just like it was forever taken away from him. Actually, it was revealed to him his spiritual identity as a gopi in the spiritual world. So it is said that when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, actually Arjuna and Arjunya Gopi, they united along with Lalita into the form of Ramananda Roy. And Prabhupada says that in the opinion of some others, Ramananda Roy is also Vishaka. So in Ramananda Roy, the two of them are together serving Lord Chaitanya. That is the greatness of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Very esoteric, Murali Gopal Prabhu. And it all boils down to service in Lord Chaitanya's mission, which is available to us where we are now.
Yes. As I was hearing this whole pastime, it was like, oh, we are given also like the most wonderful process, to enter this. And it's, the process of devotional service that Prabhupada gave us. And we are also inviting everyone to take part in it.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, we can take one more. Reflect. It's hard to reflect, I know, dear devotees, when such esoteric matters are being discussed, but let's try. It's Saturday. I guess you don't have to go to work and see those faces. No? Okay. Murali Gopal Prabhu.
They're just overwhelmed by it all. I think everybody's just trying to take it in. I mean, Jamuna Jaya wrote in the chat, I have to hop off, but thank you for sharing this amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I can tell. Bhima Prabhu's beard is probably soaked in tears. I'm not sure that's.
Yeah. My beard is soaked in confusion. No, I think that we should all remember, scientifically speaking, this is on the opposite end of the spectrum here. I'm talking to you while I'm chasing my dog down through the streets here. That when we are in a fetus form, I can't remember which month it is. I think it's within the second month. We are all feminine. We are all female. And that in order to inculcate our secondary sex characteristics to become male, there is a change based on the DNA, the XXXY chromosome, testosterone is introduced within the fetus's system, and then the secondary sex characteristics are made apparent in the body of the fetus. But we all start off as female. What to speak of our spiritual consciousness, of our natural constitutional position. So though we may think of this as wondrous, we are given a reflection in science itself that we all have that unique position, that we are subservient, that we are very beautiful, that we are the attractive source for Krishna through our service and through our devotional ras, through our devotional feeling. And we might say, oh my God, this is esoteric, but it's actually very fundamental to who we are. At least that's my understanding of it. So I was just reminded that, we can say, oh, this is unbelievable, the mystical process by which Arjun was changed into Arjuni, so to speak. But ultimately, this happens in the fetal stage in our own lives, that we have as our core foundation, that prakriti. Even though we are marginal, we have that prakriti, that subservient role within us. I'm sorry for rambling on here, but I'm just trying to assimilate one bit of knowledge into this wonderful story that Murali Gopal has offered to us. Thank you very much, Prabhu. It's definitely food for thought and food for meditation. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Yeah, thank you, Bhima Prabhu. You drew the line between the pastimes and us. That's a very helpful service. Right, Murali Gopal Prabhu?
One thing that I remember that they were talking about in the story was that when Arjunya Gopi saw the girls, he said that he noticed that because of their mature bhakti, their mature love for Krishna, they had all good qualities. So, this is what makes somebody attractive is their qualities. So when we as we develop, our bhakti, as we become mature in our bhakti, by following the instructions of the spiritual master. Notice how Arjunya Gopi was very submissively following the instructions of all of her gurus, right? Like do this, do these penances, do these mantras, do like this, and she was just following it. She got Krishna at the end. Krishna is not cheap. But if we're following, the instructions of Guru, then all success is guaranteed.
Thank you. Adipurusha Prabhu, you were playing with your mic. Are you tempted to say something in glorification of Krishna?
Yeah, how wonderful is Krishna? The subject matter of the Bhagavatam is Krishna and love of Krishna, love. And we know that in the Mayavadi school of thought, they have experienced painfulness in material loving situations, so they reject personhood and emotions, and they just try to become stone-like. So if we just give up loving Krishna, we won't be vulnerable to pain. But if we have love for Krishna, this unusual kind of pain comes, this very sweet pain and intensity of love. When I was in grammar school, I had a teacher who somehow or other, I've had teachers like this, was disturbed by my existence. Not hard to imagine. Somehow or other, would ask questions. So we were in a Catholic school, and it was across the street from this big church. And almost every day there would be funerals in the morning. So this nun, she used to, as soon as the message came that they needed an altar boy for the funeral, she would send me across the street, get me out of the classroom, you know. So I attended a lot of funerals. I was like probably 8 years old or something like that. And at a funeral, there's a casket right there in the front of the church, and in the front row on the left side, there's all the family members, and of course they're weeping, you know. And again and again and again and again, I went to funerals, you know. Probably sometimes we only go to 1 or 2 funerals that really hit us in our life, but I used to go every day. Get him out of here. My friends used to say, she loves to get you out of here. Once you go out, she goes, oh, good, we got rid of him again. We're grappling with like what it's like to have pain. You know, we're seeing people crying, and that's like it's so. I mean, Prabhupada said that devotees don't even like to hear about Krishna's leaving. It's not very tasteful, and I can't really handle this whole section. We're going like perfectly reflect and echo what Damodar Priyamachi said. You know, I can't handle this. I don't want to hear these stories about Krishna leaving the gopis and this, you know, this painful, intense separation. It's just too much. I don't. I guess it's Saturday. I just want to tell one more thing. When we were doing Sankirtan in Kaohsiung, we were going through the city every day, and what we do is we go from one store to the next, to the next, to the next, and practically everybody has these little businesses. Everybody, there's these little buildings, and one after the other, after the other, after the other, and they have the hardware store and the fruit store and the clothing store and the, you know, the drug store and the herbalist and everything. And so what people do is they have their store downstairs, and then they live above the store. And when there's a funeral in the family, they bring the casket right there to the storefront and put it at the entrance to the store. If you can imagine this. Too much talking? He's waving his hand. So
No, this is great. Please, please.
yeah, so they have these funerals, and what happens is like for 3 days the casket is sitting there because it's Asia and it's tropical, and you know all the stores are like open. The whole front is open. It's not like there's a little door. So there's this casket there. Every day, since you're covering so much ground every day, you go through at least one funeral a day. On one of these streets, and there's a casket, and then they have a picture of the person, and then they have these women who they pay to cry. There's usually, and what if you're going all around, then you see these 3 women sitting there in chairs crying, you know, and then you go the next day or the next week 3 streets over, and there's the same 3 women sitting in the chair crying. And you see, and there's even one woman, she would crawl around the casket with a microphone and sing and weep while she's crawling around the casket crying. But then you see her like, you know, half an hour later, she's having a cigarette break, you know, and then she goes, then you see her down the street at another funeral crawling around the casket crying into the microphone while she's singing some sad song. And it's like they pay people to cry. I don't know why. I guess because they don't really have, you know, they don't have the time to sit there and cry all day, or maybe they don't feel it. They don't care. So they pay somebody to cry at their funeral, so it looks good, you know. But you know, there is such a thing as real grief and terrible separation from loved ones, and separation from Krishna, and like you said, Damodar Priyamachi, I can't handle it. I can talk about it, but it's all day long. And these last few days, we're talking about the Gopi separation from Krishna. You know, I'm still sad all day long because it hits me. You know, this is like a note of the blues. You know, just like awkward. But thank God, thank you, Krishna, that there's that there's a sweet form of pain due to love, and that we're not really separated from Krishna. Anyway, just ramble. Like Bhima was saying, I'm just rambling, but the subject is so profound, the pain of separation from somebody you love. You know how the girls, if their husband leaves, they walk right into the fire, right? You've heard that, the sati rites? They don't do that anymore. They're forbidden it because when the girls weren't going to go into the funeral pyre with their husband, they started throwing them in the fire. The British passed a law against it, you know. But I mean, you're feeling so much separation from somebody you love that you just don't want to live anymore. You can't bear it. You just want to go and leave the world with them and be with them wherever they're going. Anyway, just a few thoughts. Well, glorious to Srila Prabhupada. He's showing us something sweet about the deepest kind of pain imaginable.
Thank you, Adipurusha Prabhu,
Well,
for
glorious to
adding this Saturday flavor to our class. Thank you.
I don't know if it was an addition or whatever, but anyway, so some nourishment there somehow.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Adipurusha Prabhu. Yeah, what we all love about bhakti is that it's genuine. It's not like a paid cry worker. It's genuine. There's genuine emotion there. That's what we're all here for. That's what keeps us around, I guess. Okay, thank you, Murali Gopal Prabhu. Wonderful class. You're a wonderful storyteller. Thank you, Adipurusha Prabhu, for adding the taste. Damdar Priya, thank you for co-hosting. Venetia, thank you for laughing at the jokes. Bruce Prabhu, Hare Krishna, thank you for sticking around. Suzanne, thank you so much. Bhima Prabhu, thank you. We love you all. Have a wonderful day. Come again tomorrow for this program that Srila Prabhupada introduced that is called Morning Class. Don't go anywhere. There's feelings for you, emotions, storytelling, everything, jokes, off-topic stuff, everything. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Ananda Vihar Prabhu.